We've covered a lot of ground tonight. We're starting to get a little tight on time now, just a few minutes left in this conversation. I'd like to then use moderator's prerogative and privilege to ask you now if we can squeeze a couple more questions in to cut your answers down to 30 seconds. See if we can't get a couple more questions in right quick. Cynthia Tucker will ask next, answered first, 30 seconds, by Governor Huckabee.
Governor, does the U.S. have a role to play in ending the genocide in Darfur, and if so, what should that role be?
I think we have some role to play in it, but I guess what disturbs me even more, we've not even addressed the genocide that's going on and the infanticide in our own country with the slaughter of millions of unborn children. And we also have extraordinary poverty in this country. Yes, we ought to be involved, but you know something? There are a lot of people in America that think the only poverty is in Darfur. I don't understand. There's poverty in the Delta. There are people that don't have running water, people that don't have access to medical care and don't have a decent school to go to, and you don't have to go halfway around the world to find it. We've got it right here in this country.
Congressman Paul.
The U.S. government has no authority. There's no constitutional authority. There's no moral authority. There's plenty of moral authority and responsibility for individuals to participate. But every time we get involved, no matter where, for good intentions, believe me, we're getting involved in a civil war. Even when you send food, it ends up in the hands of the military, and they use it as weapons. So it's not well intended. We should direct our attention only to national security and not get involved for these feel-good reasons of going overseas for the various reasons. And this is the main reason why I think that we ought to just come home from every place in the world and bring our troops home from Iraq.
Senator Brownback.
I know this won't be a crowd pleaser, but I couldn't disagree more with that last answer. We are the greatest nation on the face of the earth, and we are ones that can stand up, and we need to stand up in the face of a second genocide when we declared years ago in Rwanda, never again. And what is happening? It is happening again. And it's not just the first genocide that's taken place in Sudan. It's the second, and I've been there. We need to do divestiture campaigns here. We need to support the African Union troops there. We shouldn't put our own troops. We don't need to put our own troops. We need to provide food and medicine as well.
Senator, thank you very much. Congressman Tancredo.
First trip I ever took, the very first trip I ever took as a congressman of the United States was to Sudan. I came back, worked 2 years to pass the Sudan Peace Act. I believe we do have a moral responsibility to act. It is not to send troops. Believe me, I do not believe we need boots on the ground in Sudan or in Darfur to deal with this issue. But you know what we could do? We could see whether the United Nations is worth its salt and force them into participating in this issue and getting that solved.
Congressman, thank you. Congressman Hunter.
Yeah. The outside troops, UN and African Union, are not getting the job done because they're garrisoned far away from the villages. They get hammered by the Janjaweed. By the time the damage has been done, the troops always get there late. What we probably need to do is get a humanitarian corridor driven up through that vast country where we have armed convoys, UN convoys or African Union convoys to get food and medicine to those people that need it most. And lastly, teach those villages self-defense, because the troops aren't getting there in time.
Ambassador Keyes.
I have to say I'm appalled by the suggestion that we retreat into some kind of fortress America and forget who we are. We are a nation of nations, a people of many peoples. We are in touch with every people on the face of the earth. If somebody's being hurt somewhere in the world, somebody in America grieves for them. And I don't believe we can turn our backs on that universal significance, that universal mission. I think a lot of the suggestions made here in terms of how we get involved are good ones. We don't have to send troops, but we need to support and reinforce the sense of local, regional responsibility for both humanitarian and military order in that region.
Thank you, sir.